Hello and welcome to Quiz Class. I'm your host, Ellen, and today we have 100 questions for the boomers. Let's begin. What event on October 29th, 1929 marked the start of the Great Depression? Black Tuesday, Black Wednesday, or Black Thursday? Black Tuesday. What type of homemade liquor became popular during Prohibition in the 1920s? Kitchen gin, patio gin, or bathtub gin? Bathtub gin. What fruit became a common U.S. import in the 1920s as plantations expanded in Central America? Bananas, peaches, or limes? Bananas. Who was named Time Magazine Person of the Year in 1930? Adolf Hitler, Mahatma Gandhi, or Herbert Hoover? Mahatma Gandhi. How were elements sorted in the periodic table's modern structure reorganization in the 1920s? Atomic number, atomic mass, or state? Atomic number. Who won 3 swimming gold medals in the 1924 Olympics and later became Hollywood's Tarzan? Johnny Sheffield, Ron Ely, or Johnny Weissmuller? Johnny Weissmuller. What design style got its name from the 1925 Paris Exposition? Flapper, Art Deco, or Modernism? Art Deco. What telescope, the largest in the world at the time, became construction in the late 1920s? Hubble telescope, Hale telescope, or Kepler telescope? Hale telescope. What grand movie palace opened in New York City in 1927? The Roxy Theater, Seaport Cinema, or Tribeca Screening Room? The Roxy Theater. What firearm became infamous during Prohibition for its use by criminals and law enforcement? Tommy gun, Colt, or 1911 and 45 ACP? Tommy gun. What international organization promoted multilingual diplomacy in the 1920s? International Committee of the Red Cross, Médecins Sans Frontières, or the League of Nations? The League of Nations. What Broadway spectacle defined the 1920s with its elaborate productions? The Rose Girl, Good Times, or the Ziegfeld Follies? The Ziegfeld Follies. In which event did Charles Jutra win the first gold medal in Winter Olympic history in 1924? Nordic skiing, speed skating, or figure skating? Speed skating. Immigrants from Asia, and specifically which country, were virtually banned by the U.S. Immigration Act of 1924? China, Japan, or Singapore? Japan. What was the first drive-in restaurant opened in Texas in 1921? Chicken stand, steak stand, or pig stand? Pig stand. What was the 1927 Snyder Gray murder trial widely publicized as? Crimes of indecency, crimes of passion, or crimes of prohibition? Crimes of passion. What number of flavors first appeared on the Lifesavers candy roll in 1935? 4, 5, or 6? 5. What board game gained popularity in the 1930s with new champions like Alexander Alkheim? Chess, checkers, or backgammon? Chess. What 1935 detective novel by Dorothy L. Sayers blended mystery with feminism? Dark Night, Jazzy Night, or Gaudy Night? Gaudy Night. What country established the first free trade zone in 1937? Ireland, Egypt, or Oman? Ireland. What 1933 Boeing airplane revolutionized air travel? The Model 147, 247, or the Model 347? The Model 247. What iconic golf tournament was first held in 1934? The Masters, the Diviners, or the Slammers? The Masters. What magazine aimed at sophisticated readers debuted in 1933? Tatler, Esquire, or Vanity Fair? Esquire. What famous Rubens painting was auctioned by Christie's in 1930? The Adoration of the Magi, the Adoration of the Magnify, or the Adoration of the Mary? The Adoration of the Magi. What animated cartoon character debuted in the first Looney Tunes short in 1930? Tweety, Bugs Bunny, or Porky Pig? Porky Pig. What resort accessory became popular in the 1930s with wealthy travelers? Sunburn, highlights, or cigar? Sunburn. What was the name of Richard Byrd's second Antarctic base developed from 1933 to 1935? Little America 2, Down Under America 2, or United States of Antarctica 2? Little America 2. What country was Haile Selassie leading against the Italian invasion in 1935? Albania, Ethiopia, or Croatia? Albania. What fast food chain traces its origin to Glen Bell's taco stand in the 1930s? Burger King, Taco Bell, or Wendy's? Taco Bell. What 1930s psychologist studied advertising's influence through behavioral experiments? Sigmund Freud, John Watson, or B.F. Skinner? John Watson. What beauty product became popular in the 1930s thanks to stars like Greta Garbo? Eyeshadow, mascara, or eyebrow pencils? Eyebrow pencils. What innovation in emergency medicine was introduced in 1937? Penicillin, blood banks, or morphine? Blood banks. What boxed chocolates did Cadbury introduce in 1938 for holiday gifting? Celebrations, roses, or favorites? Roses. Where was the Trocadero venue that hosted key post-World War II cultural exhibitions? Rome, Paris, or Madrid? Paris. Which company made the popular post-World War II Mixmaster kitchen appliance? Breville, Sunbeam, or Braun? Sunbeam. How many official working languages did the United Nations establish in 1946? 6, 11, or 16? Six. What was a typical color scheme of a 1940s kitty foil dress? Black and white, brown and white, or navy and white? Navy and white. What 1945 Broadway musical brought innovative storytelling and memorable music? South Pacific, Carousel, or Oklahoma? Carousel. What dolphin was trained for underwater military missions during World War II? Donna, Dory, or Dolly? Dolly. What Macedonian king's tomb was unearthed in the 1940s? Philip I of Macedon, Philip II of Macedon, or Philip III of Macedon? Philip II of Macedon. What magazine launched in 1944 to target the growing teen demographic? 17, Nylon, or Teen Vogue? Seventeen. What frozen food item was introduced by J.R. Simplot in 1949? Frozen potato gems, frozen hash browns, or frozen French fries? Frozen French fries. What collector's items expanded globally as postal routes grew in the 1940s? Airmail stamps, posted packages, or mail receipts? Airmail stamps. What communication innovation was introduced by Western Union in 1948? Commercial color telegraph, commercial fax service, or commercial conference calls? Commercial fax service. What played a crucial role in Japan's end of World War II surrender? The US threatening more nuclear bombing, Soviet entry into the war, or loss of territory in Korea? Soviet entry into the war. What children's book by E.B. White, published in 1945, used realistic themes? The Trumpet of the Swan, Charlotte's Web, or Stuart Little? Stuart Little. What type of sunglasses developed for World War II pilots became a fashion trend? Aviator, Wayfarer, or Clubhouse? Aviator. What chocolate bar did Mars introduce with dark chocolate in the 1940s? Mars Bar Midnight, Milky Way Midnight, or Bounty Midnight? Milky Way Midnight. What lightweight books produced for American troops in World War II expanded the paperback market? Armed Services Publications, Armed Services Editions, or Armed Services Readers? Armed Services Editions. And we are at question 50. What annual holiday event became an American tradition after Macy's launched it post-World War II? The Dimples Thanksgiving Parade, the Thimbles Thanksgiving Parade, or the Gimbals Thanksgiving Parade? The Gimbals Thanksgiving Parade. What 1950s diner meal featured burgers, fries, and shakes as a standard combo? The Tall Boy Combo Meal, the Big Boy Combo Meal, or the Jumbo Boy Combo Meal? The Big Boy Combo Meal. What 1958 project attempted to drill into the Earth's mantle? Project Mohole, Project Maypole, or Project Mole? Project Mohole. What agricultural innovation in the 1950s boosted U.S. crop yields? Crop rotation, fallow years, or hybrid corn varieties? Hybrid corn varieties. What recoilless rifle introduced tactical nuclear weapons in the 1950s? The Buddy Junket, the Davy Crockett, or the Herbie Bucket? The Davy Crockett. What were highlighter pens marketed as when introduced in the late 1950s? Sunshine pens, note-taker pens, or felt tip pens? Felt tip pens. What 1954 agreement restored sovereignty to West Germany and allowed NATO membership? The Paris Agreements, the Marseille Agreements, or the Lyons Agreements? The Paris Agreements. What term originally referred to fans of jazz and beatnik culture in the 1950s? Bumper, hipster, or trickster? Hipster. What sweater material symbolized luxury in the 1950s for both men and women? Polyester, hemp, or cashmere? Cashmere. What marked the end of food rationing in the UK in 1954? The removal of dairy restrictions, of meat restrictions, or of egg restrictions? The removal of meat restrictions. What New York bridge opened in 1955 to address post-war commuter traffic? The Hell Gate Bridge, the Manhattan Bridge, or the Tappan Zee Bridge? The Tappan Zee Bridge. What new logo color did Pepsi introduce in 1950 to distinguish itself? Red, yellow, or blue? Blue. What mode of transportation did Paris phase out in the 1950s to introduce modern buses? Trams, ferries, or horse and carriage? Trams. What mafia boss's 1957 assassination in a barber shop highlighted organized crime? Vito Genovese, Albert Anastasia, or Paul Castellano? Albert Anastasia. What organization expanded nationally in the 1950s, providing jobs and training? The Red Cross, Goodwill Industries, or the South Asian Army? Goodwill Industries. What educational institutions emphasized distance learning and began worldwide in the 1960s? Radio schools, television education, or open universities? Open universities. Where was the world's first domed multi-purpose sports stadium opened in 1965? Dallas, Houston, or Austin? Houston. What 1960s missile system used solid fuel technology for fast deployment? The Minuteman missile, the Rocketman missile, or the Thunderman missile? The Minuteman missile. What U.S. program in the 1960s focused on civil rights and healthcare reforms? The Great Leap, the Great Nation, or the Great Society? The Great Society. What audio recording medium, launched by Philips in 1963, set a new standard? The compact LP, the compact cassette, or the compact disc? The compact cassette. What 1966 disaster in Florence promoted or prompted historic art restoration efforts? The Florence Fire, the Florence Earthquake, or the Florence Flood? The Florence Flood. What Olympic athlete, overcoming polio, won 3 gold medals in 1960? Barbara Jones, Wilma Rudolph, or Waimea Tyus? Wilma Rudolph. What toy company introduced themed playsets like space and castle sets in the 1960s? Lego, Meccano, or K'NEX? Lego. What Da Vinci manuscript fetched record prices at a 1968 auction? Codex Atlanticus, Codex Leicester, or Voynich manuscript? Codex Leicester. What did the Starbucks coffee brand start as in Seattle in 1969? A coffee bean supplier, a chocolate maker, or a vending machine company? A coffee bean supplier. What European trade organization was established in 1960 as an alternative to the EEC? EFTA, European Free Trade Association, Free Trade Authority, or Free Trade Amalgamation? European Free Trade Association. What auction house expanded in New York in 1967, solidifying its U.S. presence? Heritage Auctions, Christie's, or Sotheby's? Sotheby's. What comic series in 1977 expanded George Lucas's universe into print? Star Wars comics, Galaxy Comics, or Skywalker Comics? Star Wars Comics. What group intensified its bombing campaigns in Northern Ireland during the 1970s? The Irish Republican Army, the Irish Resistance Army, or the Irish Rebellion Army? The Irish Republican Army. What psychologists' archetypes became popular in the 1970s as part of self-help and spirituality movements? Carl Jung, James Hillman, or Alfred Adler? Carl Jung. What heritage was Raul Hector Castro, Arizona's first Hispanic American governor, sworn in on January 6, 1975? Mexican American, Cuban American, or Peruvian American? Mexican American. What 1975 E.L. Doctorow historical fiction novel blended real and fictional characters? The March, Homer and Langley, or Ragtime? Ragtime. What musical alter ego introduced in 1972 pushed gender norms in rock music? Freddie Mercury, Madam X, or Ziggy Stardust? Ziggy Stardust, or David Bowie. What 1978 legislation added scenic and historic trails to U.S. parks? UNESCO Recognition Amendments, Historic Association Amendments, or the National Trails System Act Amendments? And the last one is the answer, the National Trails System Act Amendments. What multi-use sports and entertainment venue opened in New Orleans in 1975? The Superdome, the Superfield, or the Superzone? The Superdome. What type of rifle was the Austrian Steyr AUG introduced in 1977? The first successful type of bullpup rifle, bullpup rifle, or ball-pup rifle? A bullpup rifle. What scientific breakthrough in the late 1970s revolutionized quantum physics? Laser cooling of atoms, laser bonding of atoms, or laser dispersal of atoms? Laser cooling of atoms. What term emerged in the 1970s to describe barriers to women's professional advancement? The knowledge ceiling, the glass ceiling, or the broken ceiling? The glass ceiling. Which wafer chocolate was advertised with the 1988 slogan, "Give me a break"? Twix, Kit Kat, or Crunchy? Kit Kat. Who were the Contras fighting against in Nicaragua's civil war in the 1980s? Nationalists, Fuegos, or Sandinistas? Sandinistas. What were the estimated worldwide losses in the 1987 Black Monday financial event, which caused the largest single-day stock market crash in history? 1.7 trillion, 2.71 trillion, or 3.71? 1.71 trillion. What candy introduced holiday-themed versions like pumpkins and trees in the late 1980s? M&M's, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, or Hershey's Kisses? Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. What yellow bottled fragrance launched in 1981 symbolized 1980s glamour? Revlon Charlie, Love's Baby Soft, or Giorgio Beverly Hills? Giorgio Beverly Hills. What U.S. Navy ship class, introduced in 1986, remains the largest in the world? Babbitt's class, Horowitz class, or the Nimitz class? The Nimitz class aircraft carrier. What type of drug is fluoxetine that was developed in the late 1980s? Benzodiazepine, antidepressant, or an analgesic? An antidepressant. What jewelry auction in 1987 attracted global attention? Duchess of Windsor's collection, Queen Elizabeth II's collection, or Princess Diana's collection? The Duchess of Windsor's collection. What 1989 animated film revitalized Disney's animation division? Aladdin, The Lion King, or The Little Mermaid? The Little Mermaid. What Olympic sport debuted in 1984? Badminton, synchronized swimming, or table tennis? Synchronized swimming. What innovation in the 1980s modernized automobile production lines? Computers in factories, robotics in factories, or 24-hour factories? Robotics in factories. What conflict lasting from 1980 to 1992 saw significant U.S. involvement? The Bosnian War, the Salvadorian Civil War, or the Cambodian Civil War? The Salvadorian Civil War. In the field of LCD technology, what liquid did chemists advance the use of in the mid-1980s? Glass, lithium, or crystals? Crystals. Bonus question. What initialism refers to the music television channel launched in 1981? Let us know the answer in the comments. Thanks for playing this quiz. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.